Yeah.
Suren, am I audible?
Yeah, it is audible. Thank you.
Okay. So I would request you to put everyone on mute because it will
Yeah.
unnecessarily.
Yeah. Sure.
Great. You can keep yourself unmuted.
Yeah, sure. Wait a minute, Satish. Wait. Satish, please unmute.
Can
Yes.
you hear me now?
Yeah, it's audible.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Suren. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this session on employee engagement and talent retention. And I think some of you might have attended two earlier sessions conducted by ACS. So this is the third one in the series. So to start with, I think employee engagement and talent retention is one of the most important subjects which all the HR professionals have been talking in their careers. And this is very, very close to me and myself in particular, very close to me, my heart, in fact, as a HR professional. So it's a pleasure indeed to be speaking here. Thanks to Suren and ACS for inviting and hosting me here. So before I progress, Suren, can you get on to the presentation?
Yeah, sure.
And you will have to share the host rights with me.
Sure. Wait a minute.
So don't worry, we don't start with thank you.
Yes.
Great. So if you can just make me the host.
Wait a minute, sir. Some of the participants is coming. That's why, sir.
Acha, so you want to hold on for a while?
People are coming for the same, sir. So that's why I'm taking
Okay,
some
great. So meanwhile, what I'll request is people to get on their phone or on the system, just go to this site called menti.com and go back, Suren, go
Yeah,
back, go
yeah,
back.
yeah, yeah.
Right. So just get onto this site called menti.com and use this code to answer a simple question that I have put there. So I want all of you to go to menti.com, and as soon as you log on menti.com, you will see a box which will ask you for a code. Please put this code 829746 and answer a simple question.
Sir, you are host right now.
Right.
आप कर सकते हैं.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So, right. Have you all gone to menti.com?
Yes, Satish. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So please put your comments on the text box section.
Sir, what was the code?
1 second. So code was 829746.
829746. Thank you, sir.
Sir, 829746.
46. Right. So just let me know once you guys are done, because then I'll. Great. So all of you have put their responses. Okay. So some interesting things to read. Somebody has written satisfaction, motivation to engage people, working environment, learning. Okay. Team welfare, fun, care, passion, social and fun culture, reward recognition. Very good. Okay. Right. Great. Great. Please keep contributing. Okay. Committed to organization, strategy, satisfaction. Very nice. Goals. I don't see any birthday celebrations coming, I think. Right. Great. Fun work atmosphere. Okay. So top three which are coming is motivation, satisfaction, passion.
Passion.
Great. Group activity, de-stress, executive planning, job satisfaction, fun activities. Great. So I think I've got a fair idea of what people think now. Bonding among employees. So Suren, you can just take over and we can go to the presentation basically.
Sure.
So somebody has written, I can't hear the audio. Is it audible now? Vaibhav Dubey.
Sir, please give me the right of course. You have disabled the screen sharing, sir.
Yeah, I have.
Please.
Yeah, you're the host now.
Okay.
Great. So very interesting comments. Thank you so very much.
Many of the people are coming on the same, sir. I need only 1 minute of yours, sir.
Yeah, sure.
काफी रिक्वेस्ट आई हुई है तो I thought. So I'm sharing the screen, sir.
Great.
Yeah.
Fine. So we can move on. The next slide, Suren, please. Okay, so great. I think this is a simple question that I asked. What is employee engagement? And all of you have answered many interesting stuff. So some of the things that I also wanted to put on the slide. These are some of the things which I hear from people when I interview them or I interact with them. Typically, HR professionals. Okay, so in fact, I used to work for a hospitality company, and many of the people within that same fraternity used to tell me about employee engagement the way it has been explained on the slide. So Suren, you can just go ahead on this slide. So what employee engagement meant to HR folks is birthday celebration, sports day, celebrating festivals, decorating office, Rangoli competition. So typically we have a habit of decorating our offices on 26th of Jan, 15th August, all the festivals, monthly celebration and fun Fridays. I'm sure most of the HR folks would have done this yesterday. So yesterday was a Friday and people would have done this. Fun Friday is very close to the HR folks. The next one is Coffee with HR. Okay, so this is inspired from Coffee with Karan. So they want to organize coffee with HR folks, coffee with HR heads. And then Cool Cafeteria. Okay, so we put all our heart and soul to design great cafeterias, great interiors, so that people feel motivated and engaged once they are there in the cafeteria. This is something which I've recently heard. So some of my friends and colleagues working with startup companies, they serve beer in their offices after 6 p.m. So people can actually go to the cafeteria, open up the fridge, pull up a beer bottle and get onto their workstation after 6 p.m. Very interesting and helps in engaging, I'm very sure. The next one is picnics and offsites. Okay, I think to a certain extent this also helps people. So what I'm going to speak in next 60 minutes of time are personally my opinion, individual, or my learnings based on whatever 16 years of HR that I have seen in multiple organizations, or learning from the people that I've met. Okay, so this is nothing against any individual, nothing against any organization, nothing against anybody on this earth. Okay, so these are purely my views. So when I asked HR folks, typically these are the 5 broad areas that they talked about engagement. But unfortunately, this is not engagement. This is not where engagement stops, or this is not what actual essence of engagement is. This is like all celebrations. Okay, so to say, just to give an example to you, for example, it's like a injection, or it's like a painkiller. So if you do all these activities, you avoid. So if you take, for example, a painkiller, you avoid the pain for a certain period of time, let's say 1 hour or 2 hours. Or but after that, once the essence of the painkiller is gone, you start feeling the pain again. So these activities are similar to those. Okay, so you do a fun Friday, you make the employee feel very high for a certain period of time. He will end the day, go back home, next day morning he or she comes back again with the same feeling. So this can actually help to arrive at something called as employee satisfaction, I think, to us for a certain period of time. We're going to talk more about it. So I wanted, in fact, Suren, if you want to, because I wanted to share a story which is very familiar, in fact, to most of you. So I had
we both are partner. Mr. Sushant is also here,
Okay.
and one of our recruiter. It's been a 2 year, I think, and we are celebrating the birthday of the girl. मैं नाम नहीं लेना चाहूँगा. And suddenly, हुआ ये कि we are celebrating the birthday. We have done the lunch and all that. And after that, after 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, he said, "Sir, I would like to go another company. I don't want to continue with your company. I'm resigning and all that." मैं कहा, what? What is this? मतलब आज तो सुबह से birthday celebrate किया. What happened? And she said, "Nothing, sir. I want to move from here to another company and all that." So it's happened. मतलब
Great.
it's happened. Yeah.
So I think what Suren just shared is not something which is new to all of us. We all have seen this happening, especially the HR folks who are attending this. This is very common to most of the HR folks. So whatever amount of celebrations or fun Fridays you do, people don't stay back to the organization. You would still have certain percentage of attrition. And what surprises me is if this was it, if this was what employee engagement meant, then all these companies like a Aon Hewitt or a Gallup, which does or which invest crores and crores of rupees, which employs a lot of, in fact, so many professionals, okay, from big premier B schools to study and research about the organizational culture, organizational health, organizational well-being. So these people would have been jobless and unemployed, in fact. So agar itna easy employee engagement hota. So so this is the point that I'm trying to make is, yeah, these things lead to certain aspects of engagement, but this is not what employee engagement is, or this is not the end of employee engagement. It is more to do with employee engagement. Okay, so then you can move on. Yeah, so the cross is, let's look beyond these things. We have been looking at these things, but let's look beyond this. Now it's time. Now, if you have not done it so far, now is the time. Okay, so this is it all. This is where from it all started. Okay, so Suren, just put, you keep moving.
Okay.
Right. So this is how it all started. So before employee engagement was coined, this term employee engagement was coined in the year 1990. Before employee engagement, there was a term which was very famous. Like HR has evolved. So before HR came into existence, it was called as personal, and then came HR, and now we call it as human capital or talent, or so on and so forth. So like this, employee engagement also started from something called as employee satisfaction. Now, what employee satisfaction meant was a state of mind wherein a person is happy about coming to office and going back. Okay, so his contribution may or may not be there, but he's only happy. That's why he's coming to the work and going back. So in the initial stage or era, there were many companies who were happy about it because people were coming to work, they were completing their 9 hours of service and going back home, and not many opportunities were there. So that's why people were not leaving the jobs also. But now when the world has become more competitive and there are a lot of opportunities which are coming now, so people have more options. So that's how people have started looking beyond satisfaction. So then move on, please.
Yeah.
So now people don't people have stopped talking about employee satisfaction. They have started talking about something called as employee engagement. Move on. So what I'm trying to say here is a satisfied employee is somebody who is doing his job responsibly, but he's not willing to go above and beyond, or he is not willing to put his efforts beyond the boundaries, or he's not able to think out of the box. So he's not putting, maybe he's putting 100% of his efforts, but he's not inspired, or he's not somehow connected to the organization. So he's not willing to go beyond and above his job description. Please move on. So this is what is employee engagement to me. So engagement to me means the extent to which an employee commits to the organization or any individual, because a lot of us work for the organization, a lot of us also work for the leaders who are employed in that organization. Because, so for example, everybody's motivated to work like with somebody like Tim Cook or a Steve Nadella. Okay, so they are big leaders and people want to work with these big leaders. So a commitment to work with somebody like these gentlemen or organizations, or the intent to stay in the organization. So employee engagement, I just want to dwell on this slide for next 4 or 5 minutes. So it all starts with two commitment types. One is the rational commitment and the second is the emotional commitment. Now, what does rational commitment means? So rational commitment means is what you agree to give to the organization in lieu of the CTC और the career that has been promised to you. So आपको जो organization पैसे दे रही है, जो salary दे रही है, उसके बदले whatever job that you are doing is your rational commitment to that organization. And the next part to engagement is the emotional commitment. So emotional commitment is the why part of it. Okay, so you are getting a salary, you're getting a career, you're getting a designation, you're getting a post, you're getting a learning exposure. But why would you do that? Why would that job be motivating? Why would you connect yourself with that job? What is the reason? So that is the why part is the emotional commitment to that particular job. So why part is the passion part. Why part is the purpose part. So for example, giving you an example from cricket. So everybody wanted to be a Sachin Tendulkar. But Sachin Tendulkar, if you see and go back to his interviews, he has mentioned several number of times that his rational commitment to a certain extent is to play for India. But his emotional commitment is to play for the country. His emotional commitment is to give back to the society or to play for the nation that has actually helped him to grow. Same as for the people who work in the defense forces. Okay, so they are getting a salary for whatever commitment or the job they are doing. But why would somebody go and stand in the border and get a bullet or is ready to take a bullet? Is because of the emotional commitment they have with the job. So the emotional commitment is the why part or the purpose or the passion part of the job. Now the next set of things, that is day-to-day work, team, direct manager and organization, are the four things that we get exposed when we work in an organization. So I call it as the focal point of commitment. So what it happens is when you work in an organization on a day-to-day basis, when you interact with teams, when you work with some managers in an organization, there are two types of output which come out. The first one is a discretionary effort. The second is the intent to stay. Now, what is discretionary effort? Can anybody write on the chat box what is a discretionary effort? What do you understand by discretionary effort? Anybody wants to take an attempt? Suren, I hope I am not going too fast.
No, sir.
Okay, so anybody wants to take an attempt? What is discretionary effort? Okay, Ayushi writes how hard you work. Okay. Yeah, so something special and unique. Great. So maintaining confidentiality, no. So अगर आप engaged है, अगर आप अपने job पे committed है, so what would be the discretionary outcome or what would be the impact? Above minimum required, Nisha. Yeah, great. Okay, effort beyond boundaries. Great. Shushant, that's a good one. Yeah. Great, great, great. Neha says going above and beyond the minimum required. Yeah, great. Great. So discretionary effort means willingness to go above and beyond. Okay. So you have a job description and discretionary effort, you would try to do something which is more than the job description. You would try to do something which is slightly out of the box. You will try to innovate in whatever jobs that you have been given. This leads to performance. Okay. So if you try to do something which is above and beyond the job description, if you try to do something extra, this will help you to become a solid performer. This will make you a good, strong performer in the organization. And the second would be the intent to stay. So if you are emotionally connected, if you have a purpose for the job that you are doing, you would want to stay in that organization for a longer period of time. You would want to work with good leaders, and that will help in retention. So this is how the kind of way you connect with the organization, striving for perfection. Great. So this is how the way you connect with the organization helps you to perform and stay back in the organization. So this is how engagement becomes very, very critical and important for any of the organization. Yeah. Any questions as of now? You understand? So just to make it very simple, rational commitment means dimag se, emotional commitment means dil se. So if you are connected with the organization from your head, and if you're connected with the organization with your heart, you will deliver and you will want to stay back in the organization for a longer period of time. Great, Suren. Move on, please. Yeah. Right. So I wanted to share a study which was done by HBR, Harvard Business Reviews. Okay, this was a study which was done by Harvard Business Reviews on a couple of CEOs. And they actually went on to ask the CEOs on the impact of employee engagement on performance. Okay, so they asked, what is that is most important to you for an organizational success? Okay, what would be the top 8-10 parameters if you have to answer? What would be the top 8-10 parameters which are very, very important for an organization to be successful? So the first one which came out, 80% of the respondents talked about the customer service, how you reach out to the customer or the customer satisfaction, so to say. The next one is about effective communication. So 73% of the population talked about the effectiveness of communication. So what it means is, it means about the communication flowing within the organization and outside. So from the CEO to the last mile or the last employee of the organization, everybody should speak the same language. The vision, the direction, and the communication should be very, very clear. The third one that you see here is 71% is talking about the employee engagement. So to all the CEOs, what this slide also is showing is, to all the CEOs, high employee engagement is very, very critical. It is as critical as your communication or customer service. So that's the reason why most of the organizations have now started talking about engagement. That is the reason why engagement is all the more important to ensure that your organization is profitable and you have a successful organization. You can actually go to this HBR review to study more about this particular study. Yeah, move on, Suren. Yeah. Great. So this is what employee engagement leads to. So it helps organization. I will take this question, Saurabh, at the later stage, because this will break the flow of the presentation. Please park it. I will take this question later. So why is employee engagement important? Employee engagement is important because it helps you build your brand. You become an employer of choice. People want to work for Google because Google is known for so many good things outside, isn't it? So Google is, if you just think to a layman, Google is just a search engine. So it is just a search engine, but still so many people. So you ask anybody and everybody would want to work for Google. So people want to work for brand. People want to get engaged for the brand. So engagement leads to your brand value and help you to become an employer of choice. Next is there are direct studies which talks that employee engagement leads to profitable organization. So any organization which has a good or a positive employee engagement ratio is profitable. It helps in increasing productivity because people who are emotionally and rationally connected with the organization are more productive because they are working dil se and dimag se for the organization. The next is increased customer satisfaction. So if you have happy employees or engaged employees, automatically you will service the customers better. So that's the reason your customer satisfaction score also increases. Typically, I've worked in hospitality, so we speak about net promoter score, or we get a survey done by each of the customer while they are leaving the organization, the hotel. So they will talk about the services that they have experienced. So in my 2.5 years of my career in the hospitality company, I have seen that the service impact or the way people have been engaged with that particular job or the role has a direct impact on the customer satisfaction. So, an employee who is disgruntled or who is dissatisfied and is not able to service the customer has a direct impact on the satisfaction level or the ratings of the customer. This also helps in organization to retain their best talent. Okay, so people want to work with organizations which are actually taking care of them. This helps in building up a high performing team or a high performing workforce, and you get committed and loyal employees. Yeah, Suren, next one. So I think these are good enough reasons for any organization to look at employee engagement. Now, before we move on, I want to ask uh, all of you, some of you are working, some of your students, these two fundamental questions. So what is the reason that organization, though everybody now understand that engagement is very important, but if you go and ask a HR professional or you ask a HR fellow, what is your engagement strategy? I think all of them will fall flat and they would not have a, so everybody would have a strategy which is written on their head, but there is nothing on a piece of paper. So most of the organization don't have a defined employee engagement strategy, while we have already seen in last couple of slides how important it is. So please, my only recommendation is please go back and write your employee engagement strategy if you don't have. And the second question that I want to ask is who is responsible? So please put your comments on the chat box. Who is responsible for driving employee engagement in the organization? Okay, so if you're working for any organization, do your company has an employee engagement strategy? Yes or no? And who in the HR is responsible or who is responsible for driving the engagement in the organization? Great. So Shushant has written management and HR professionals, seniors and HR. Yeah, anybody else? Neha Joshi, HR. Administration, very good. Number one, number two, HR only. So I don't know. Okay. HR employees, HR line managers, very good. Great. Top management shall come from the top. HODs, great. Great manager. Kanchan writes recruitment department, very good. Sanket writes recruitment department and top management. Great. Sanket, why recruitment department only? Why not others?
So because they are the frontliners who select the new.
Okay, but others in HR also paid salary, na? So why would they not do it? Why would the recruitment folks only do it? I am personally a recruiter. That's why I'm asking you this question. This impacts my job also. I will have to do something extra. Great. Okay. So not pulling you. Okay. Great. Okay. Great. So thank you very much. I think very interesting responses. So most of the people have responded HR, but somebody very early in my career, nothing against the HR professional against, myself is a HR professional. So somebody said HR means hardly required. So I was taken aback. मतलब HR मतलब hardly required मतलब क्या होता है यार? We are very required in the organization.
Absolutely.
Now, आप लोग ऐसा बोलोगे तो फिर कैसे चलेगा? So we have to change the way people look at HRs. Okay, that's the reason. In fact, I'm doing this session to help people understand what is the. So anything and everything that happens in the organization should not only be the responsibility of HR. The top management, I think most of you have written about the senior leadership. So the top management and the senior leadership is equally responsible for driving employee engagement, or for that matter, anything related to the engagement or the culture of organization or the value and the mission within the organization. So HR is basically a torch bearer of the culture of the organization. So HR is like you walk into a mall and you feel the freshness which is there in that particular air. So HR is responsible for creating that freshness in the air. If I have to give an example. Great. Please move on, Suren. So I think very good responses. Thank you very much. Makes me very happy. Okay, great. So I wanted to ask you again on the chat box, if you can just help me identify, just go back, Suren.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, so he has already killed the fun. So, okay, so -5 for this. Okay.
-5.
Great. Yeah. So guys, okay, fine. The fun is already gone. Any which ways, if anybody wants to identify this person, you get a +5 for that. Suren, you're not allowed.
Okay.
Okay, guys, please help me identify this gentleman. Just to give you some clues, this is the person who actually coined the term employee engagement,
Yes.
and he's technically known to be the father of employee engagement, and he was the one who actually started employee engagement way back in 1990s. So a very famous individual. Some of you who work in HR or who are willing to work or start their career in HR must know this gentleman. So yeah, Suren, now you can press the enter. Yeah, he is Mr. William Khan. I think some of you have written. Great. So Atul and Radhika +5 for you. Great. So this gentleman is called as the father of employee engagement approach. He was a professor of Boston University, and during his 25 years of career, he did many research which were related to the personal engagement and the disengagement of people around the work. So he typically talked about three engagement parameters: physical engagement, cognitive engagement, and emotional engagement. So he is one of the key persons who actually coined this terminology, employee engagement, and he was the one who started this. So people started talking about employee engagement after 1990, once this gentleman introduced this particular term. So very important for you to know this particular individual. You can actually go and Google about him and read more. Please move on, Suren. Okay, so all of you on the chat box, yes or no, you have heard about Maslow's theory of motivation. I'm sure whosoever is doing MBA or who has done MBA has read about Maslow's theory. Great. Everybody says yes. So now, if you can just tell what are the 5 levels of the pyramid of Maslow that he talks about. So all those people who have said yes, now +5 for answering the next one, which are those 5 pillars of Maslow that he talks of. Yeah, self-esteem. आपने एकदम ऊपर से start कर दिया, विधि नीचे से आइए please. You started from the top, so please come from the bottom. Start from the bottom. Yeah, basic needs, physical needs, physiological. Yeah, great. Physiological, safety, social. Great. Yeah, self-actualization. Great. So the 5 levels of pyramid that Maslow talked of was physiological needs, or the basic needs at the bottom, then security needs, then social needs, right, then self-esteem, and then self-actualization needs. Now Gallup Q12, if you have heard about an institute called Gallup, so I actually want to talk about these two a couple of engagement models, because now if you understand employee engagement, you would know that organizations do employee engagement study also. काफी organization employee engagement study or surveys भी कराती है. So I just wanted to touch upon a couple of models or the frameworks on which this employee engagement studies are being done. So one of the famous one is this Gallup. So Gallup is very much Gallup actually, yeah, correct, Akshay. So Gallup actually takes you back to Maslow's theory, and what Gallup survey does is, this particular study is called as Gallup Q12. Why Q12? Because they ask you only 12 questions. Okay, so these 12 questions are around what you need, what you give, where you belong, and what do you get. Okay, so you would be asked about questions like, do you have all the materials? So some of you who have taken this Gallup survey or are exposed to this would know this. So there are questions which are asked around material and equipment. Do you have the right material and equipments or not? Do you have the role clarity, whatever you are doing? So role clarity in material and equipment forms the bottommost level of the pyramid. The next thing that they ask is whether you are taken care well. Okay, so whether you're given an opportunity, whether you have the right recognition, whether you are cared, whether the developmental needs are getting fulfilled or not. So that talks about the leadership support. The next thing that they ask is about the teamwork. So they would ask whether do you have a best friend at work? Would you recommend this organization to other people in your circle? Would you align yourself with the organization? Is your opinion matter? So this relates to the entire teamwork or where you belong. And the final one is around the growth. So whether you get ample amount of growth or learning opportunities within this organization, are you able to progress or not? So this is what is the Gallup Q12 engagement model. And I think a lot of organizations initially, early days of 2000 were using Gallup Q12 to evaluate their engagement level. So how it happens is people will do an engagement study. Okay, let's say by using a tool like Gallup Q12, they will come out with a certain score and then they will do the action planning and fix the issues which are identified using this survey. So in the next one, please. Yeah, so this is another model. This is designed and developed by Aon Hewitt. Okay, so some of you who have heard about Aon, so this model talks about the entire work experience. It talks about leadership, performance, work, basics, company practices, and the brand. And they will ask you questions related to all these 6 parameters. They call it as foundation and differentiators. So the ones in yellow are the basics that every organization should have. The ones in green are those which actually makes the difference between the one organization and another organization. So what it yields to is the engagement outcomes. So it yields to three things. One, what people say about the organization. Second is how long do people stay with the organization. Third is strive. So how much extra efforts people put while they're working for this organization. So what it results is the business outcomes. So it results in helping your talent to stay with the organization. It helps the talent to focus on their wellness. It helps lesser of absenteeism. It increases productivity. It increases the customer or the net promoter score that I talked of. And it also increases the financial and the revenue outcomes of the organization. So this is again a model which was designed by Aon Hewitt. There are many such models which actually are used by organization to assess their engagement level. So another model that organization uses called as Zinger model. So if you can go and research on market, you will find many such models existing. Depending upon where you work, what organization level or what maturity level your company is, you can actually design a framework of engagement for yourself. Or let's say, for example, you're using an Aon Hewitt survey to assess your engagement scores. So then you can actually relate your engagement model with the Aon model. Clear? Any questions as of now? Please put or type any questions if you have in the chat box. Suren, any questions?
No, boss, not right now.
Okay. Am I going too fast, too slow?
No. It's going on perfectly.
Or is it all clear?
No, it's perfectly, sir.
It's all clear?
People are enjoying that.
Great. So all clear means nothing is understood.
मैंने इसलिए बोला नहीं आपको.
Okay, great. I don't know. Others are on mute. So, okay. So Atul asked, what if the organization doesn't have a policy for employee engagement? Very good, Atul. That's the reason you are attending this session. So if you're working, please go back, first look at the organization where you work. What is the things that are actually helping to stay with the organization, like I mentioned, and just try to put some 3-4 bullet points. You don't need to have a lot of things. So to create an employee engagement policy or a strategy. In fact, I would talk about a certain parameters that you can actually look at and see if they exist in your company or not, and you can create a policy or a strategy around it. Suren, next one, please.
Sure.
Yeah, Ria, just hold it. I will answer this maybe after 2 slides. Okay, so just to sum up, some of you want to actually create an employee engagement strategy for your organization. That's very good. Appreciate. So you can actually look for something related or linking up with these things. So one is try to do something. So what drives an employee? So you just need to ask what is that is making employees work for the organization, or what is that if you do, people will stay longer in your organization. So these are some of the things that I feel is critical for an employee to stay in an organization. The first one is, I would stay in an organization if I'm aligned with the vision and the mission of the organization. So I understand what is the organization wants to do. So for example, ACS is a company which actually works with many corporates or HR professional to help them get the right talent. So anybody and everybody working in ACS would know that their job is only two. One is to identify the best of the talent, and second is to ensure the talent and the organization, they come on the same platform and meet each other, because that's how the organization needs will get fulfilled, ACS needs will get fulfilled, and the candidates need will get fulfilled. So one is, you should know very, very clear in your mind that what is your organization vision and mission. Right, Suren?
Yeah, right, sir.
Perfect. Done. Second is the communication. So for example, if you are an organization and you are headquartered in Delhi, and you have people across the country and you have people outside the country also. So how would you ensure that people who is the last mile, or somebody who is working in Northeast, let's say a place like Tinsukia or a Bongaigaon or a Asansol, how would that person know what is that the CEO is thinking? So it is very important for an organization to have the right communication challenge or the channels. Okay, so this is how engagement is actually built in. So whosoever is asking now, what do we do to create engagement? You just don't need to do anything rocket science. Okay, you don't need to go to NASA to get a degree in engagement. You just follow the basics and you would have your people engaged. Just ensure that the person who is working in the front line is clear, or he carries the same enthusiasm and the energy level which the CEO has. If the CEO has the passion to drive a business of 5,000 crore, that person should also own up the territory he is working. Okay, Atul, I'll answer this question in a while, please. Okay, the next one is around communication is very important. Listen to your employees. So there are organizations which are very, very open to a top-down and a bottom-up communication. There are many organizations which doesn't listen to an employee at all. So what happens is people come and go in from that organization. So they would have a very high attrition rate, or people will come and go, because the basic need of an individual is to be heard. Okay, isn't it? So all of us wants to be heard. That's the reason we have friends, families, or we have parents, and we go to them whenever we want ourselves to be heard. So like that, the way you are treated in your family, you should also be treated in the organization. So you should be heard. Every employee should be heard. The third thing, which is very, very important, is clarity of job and the role expectation. So for example, even if I'm an executive, or even if I'm a manager, or even if I'm a DGM or a GM or a VP, I should be very clear in terms of what is the expectation of the management from me for that particular job, and how important is my job. So I don't know if any of you would have seen this movie called Lakshya. Has anybody seen this movie called Lakshya?
Yes.
Great. So Lakshya mein wo, there's this gentleman Hrithik Roshan. So he goes and meets the father-in-law, his prospective father-in-law, and that particular gentleman, if you're able to recollect that scene, I remember that movie. It's very close to my heart. So he will go and sit in front of that individual, and the old man will ask you, "Beta, kya plan hai?"
Right.
So he will say कि आज मेरे को जाना है, इस फ्रेंड से मिलना है, शाम को उधर जाके पार्टी करना है, और उसके बाद ये करना है. So he says, नहीं नहीं ये नहीं चाहिए मेरे को. What I want to know from you is what is your plan, what is your goal?
Life
So,
plan.
हाँ, आपके करना क्या है जीवन में? तो he says कि मेरे को भी पता नहीं, I'm not clear. So then comes the real dialogue. So he says that whatever you do in your life, whatever, even if you want to be somebody who is cutting grass, okay, you should do it to the best possible extent. So अगर घास काटने वाला भी बनो तो सबसे अच्छा घास काटने वाला बनो. So this is what I'm trying to say, that please understand that every job which exists in an organization is important. Okay, and if it is not important, please ensure that the jobs which are there in the organization are made important, because people are employed. So if the jobs are important, then only people will feel important doing those particular jobs. So that is the reason. So if you make a person feel important or feel valued, okay, आजकल बात करते हैं ना, feel valued, employees को बोलते हैं let's make our employees feel valued. So why they say this, let's make our employees feel valued, is because they want to value not that particular person because of the face or nothing else, but they want to value that person for the individual that person is. Okay, so have create an importance. So the point that I'm trying to make is make that role very, very important. Ensure that the role is important in the entire hierarchy. The fourth one is relationship with peer and managers. Okay, so again, this plays a very critical role. So if I have peers who will always crib or who will spread negativity, so I would not want to work in that particular organization. I would want to work in an organization where people are positive, people talk good things, people talk about doing something for their own. So there is a saying na, that you want to have people who are better than you, or you want to be in a company of people who are better than you. So relationship with peers and supervisor is very, very important. The next one is feedback from supervisors. So it is very important for an individual on a time-to-time basis to know how he or she is delivering. Because if you don't know how you're delivering, then you will not be able to correct yourself, right? I don't know how many of you agree, but feedback is very, very important. So for us, it's like if you are to walk on a straight line and if you're diverting or deviating and there's nobody to watch you. So why do we have these red lights, or why do we have police for that matter? It is only to tell you or give you feedback on a time to time basis that, boss, you're doing something wrong. Please get back to the right path. You're doing something wrong. Please get back to right path. The same way organization also give feedback to employees on a time to time basis that, boss, this is what was expected out of you. You're not doing it right. Please go and do it properly, or please do it this way. That will help you grow. So along with feedback, what is also important is to recognize. And when you recognize in public. Okay, so they say na, that recognize in public and reprimand in private. So you should actually go and recognize people proudly and loudly, as they say. The second last one is creating career and learning opportunities. So if you create learning and career opportunities for an individual, the individual is bound to stay for your organization. I can give it to you in writing that if you provide career opportunities to an individual, okay, why do people leave job? Because they leave jobs because they don't get the next level of job, or they don't get their learnings, next level of learnings, and they are hungry for learning more. So that's the reason they find a new grass on the other side and they move on. So please ensure that you have good learning and career opportunities available to them. The last one, very, very basic, yet very important, is equip them adequately. So for example, it's like, I happened to go through this yesterday itself in my organization. So we had hired a sales guy. This guy has been on board with us for last 6 months. And this poor chap doesn't even have a laptop. So, and yesterday itself only it got reported because he was asked to send a report. Now everybody is working virtually. So far he has been using his mobile phone. But yesterday when he had to send a report, he came and said to us that he doesn't have a laptop. And no fault of this poor gentleman, but he has been working without a laptop for last 6 months, and God only can know how productive this gentleman would have been. So equipping people with the right utilities is also very important. So this is how you can actually help them or engage them more. So if you don't give the right tools to an individual, the person cannot deliver at all. So I think for me, these are the 7 things, if you do, can help people perform better. One second, let me take the questions. Okay, so a couple of questions, in fact 3 of them. One from Ria Jan, how to decide which model is suitable for the organization, for our organization. Great. So Ria, it depends on the organization that you work. Model you can choose depending upon what is the maturity state. You can actually invite all of these people itself. So for example, you can invite Aon Hewitt. They can actually study your organization and tell whether their model will succeed or not. So depending upon what maturity, typically organizations which are at a decent maturity level can actually go for a Gallup or a Zinger or a Aon model. So model you will have to choose depending upon your maturity state of the organization. Atul, where do you see the organization if they do not implement the employee engagement and claims the organization doing well, require any change in the existing? Atul, your question will get answered in my subsequent slide. Okay. Ruchika asked, isn't feedback and recognizing related to performance appraisal and reward system? Yeah, Ruchika, that's what I'm trying to say. So everything is linked. Okay. So feedback and rewards and recognition is also linked to performance appraisal. So they say if you are fair in your performance appraisal, that also leads to engagement. People want to work with organizations which are fair to employees. Okay. So on a time to time basis, if you are fair to your employees, if you keep giving feedback by the ways of performance, so performance management system is like a tool and engagement is the outcome. You have to see it that way. So आप अगर performance management system करते हैं या performance appraisals करते हैं, उसमें you give feedback to the employees and that's the result. The outcome of it is engagement. Great. So these are some of the myths about engagement. Okay, and some of these are very, very close to my heart. Okay, the second one is very close to my heart. Employee celebration leads to engagement. So I think by now you would have understood and you would have registered how strong non-believer I am of these celebrations. Okay, so yeah, it's good to celebrate, but let's not get gaga or overboard over it. Okay. Right. So first one is employee engagement and employee satisfaction are synonymous. No, they are not. I think you would have understood from my first slide that employee satisfaction and employee engagement are slightly different. So satisfaction may not lead to a complete engagement. A satisfied employee is not an engaged employee. Okay. The third one is high performers are highly engaged. May or may not be true. So not necessarily every high performer is highly engaged, because typically if you go and study the attrition rate of the organization, majority of the organization actually ring fence the high performers. Why? Because they don't want to lose those high performers and they try to create or keep them engaged because they actually they have a fear of losing those high performers. So the high performers are, yes, they are engaged, but you need to have ring fencing around it. So how organization do a ring fencing around it is they will put a retention strategy around it. They will put some retention bonus around them. They will put them constantly on some learning projects or cross-functional projects. Or if you would have read about CEOs or successful CEOs who are who have been very high performers or strong performers, they actually gone through various projects. So somebody would get exposed to HR, finance, sales, marketing, and then finally become the CEO of the organization. So high performers are treated in a very, very different way in the organization to ensure that they are engaged. But it is not necessary that high performers are highly engaged, else high performers would not have been leaving the organization. The fourth one is everyone is responsible for increasing their own engagement, which is true, but people don't believe it. People only park it. In fact, when I asked all of you who is responsible for driving engagement, most of you wrote HR or top management. But everyone, all of us are responsible for driving our own engagements. We should know at the first instance what is that engagement means to me and how I should be motivating or keeping myself engaged. The fifth one is leaders are inherently engaged. So not necessarily. I have seen organizations wherein the leaders are completely disengaged. The top brass doesn't even take interest in what is happening, and eventually the organization collapses in a couple of years' time. So it's a myth that leaders are inherently engaged. So they are also employees, and there could be a possibility that they are also disengaged. They can also be disengaged. Engagement is something you can buy. I think this is again a very, very common myth. So people believe in buying engagement. They will feel that I do a training program or I will do good decoration. I will give good gifts to the employees, or get a movie show done, or get a family picnic done, or a 5-star buffet lunch, and people will get engaged. So it's again a myth. They can give you momentary happiness, but they will not yield to your long-term engagement, or the discretionary effort will not come. The next one is high score on employee engagement surveys show that employees loyal. May or may not be true. So typically high score. So our problem is when people take an employee engagement scenario, they start rating the organization in the best possible. So whatever expectation I have from the organization, I will measure the organization on those parameters and then start marking. So for example, if I expect the organization to have a car policy and give me a decent sedan, and the organization has not provided me that sedan, so I will mark the organization poor on that particular parameter, and the engagement score will go down. So that's why, or else, for example, I have seen this myself. So organizations used to create a huge party the previous night, and next day morning people will go and take the employee engagement survey, and suddenly the score will go very high. It is the recency effect of the yesterday's party. Okay, so people are still happy high and they put very high scores. So the employee engagement scores are not the actual reflection. It doesn't mean that everybody taking the survey or marking the organization high on the survey scores is going to be loyal. You need to actually create that loyalty by putting those discretionary efforts or putting those intent to stay or providing those parameters that we just talked. Great. Any questions so far? Okay, great. So now we have talked about employee satisfaction. We have talked about, so employee satisfaction was pre-1990. Then we talked about employee engagement, which worked from 1990, introduced by this gentleman, William Kahn. And now we have started talking about this terminology called employee experience. So what is employee experience? So this particular term, employee experience, in fact, some of you working in HR would have heard about it. Got started being talked about in the year 2017. So it's been 3 years we have started talking about employee experience and employee engagement both, or synonymously. Okay, so sometimes we feel that it is the same, but these are different. So one is an input and another one is an output. So let's look what is employee experience. So just hold on, Suren. So these are some of the parameters. If I am an employee, so imagine yourself as the employee in the picture. And these are some of the things, okay? These are the various touch points, or these are some of the things that you experience as an employee when you work for an organization. So you expect as an employee, the organization to be fair to you, okay? The organization to be doing a decent performance appraisal. Aapka boss bias na ho ke appraisal kare. He marks somebody very close to him as very high and you as very poor. The organization has to be fair to you. The next one is you should have the tools and the tackles to do the job. If you're doing a management job, you should have a laptop or a desktop to do the job. If you're doing something else, then you should have the right tools. The next is the physical environment. I think physical environment is very, very important. So though we are at work from home, people are not asking you to work from jungle. Okay, so the organization will provide a decent atmosphere or a decent office. So that's the reason organization create a nice office. They create a nice cafeteria. So they want you to have a nice experience about the entire setup. They will never want you to go sit in sun or sit under a shade and work. That will not make you happy. Or you will not have a great employee experience. Agar ye sab nahi hoga, to you will not have that experience. And you will not be engaged. That's what I'm trying to say. So the next one is product and services. So people want to work for good organization which have produced good products and services. So something like a Google, everybody wants to work for a Google. Everybody wants to work for a company like Amazon. So people want to get associated with companies which are good in providing goods and services that they make. The next one is listening and contributing. I think I have talked about it earlier also. So people want to be heard. People want to be valued for the contribution they are making. Next is team and relationships. So people want to be part of good teams. Okay, people want their relationships with the peer group or the superior or the subordinates to be valued. They believe in well-being, rewarded and recognized for the efforts that they do. They want to work for good leaders. Okay, so I think this is very, very important, especially with the Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, and the millennials. They always want to work with inspiring leaders. They don't want to work with somebody who is very, very negative, or they don't want to work in toxic work environments, as they call it. The next is around the learning opportunities. So people want to work for the organization which provides them ample amount of learning opportunities. They work for organization which have a decent technology platforms. Okay, so they would not want to write scripts or manuscripts for you and then courier or post it, and the manager will get them, open the envelope, read it, and then will respond by a letter mode. So they want to work for tech organizations which are technologically advanced, and people want to work for organizations which have decent value system, which respect the employees, which have trust on the employees. So these are some of the experiences which an employee looks through in his entire life cycle for an organization, with an organization, starting from the recruitment to the exit. And this is what creates the employee experience for an individual. So we started with employee satisfaction. We talked about employee engagement. And this is what is being now talked about, employee experience. Suren, please.
Yeah.
Right. So employee experience, like I mentioned, started being talked about from 2017. This talks about how people see or what people see around them when they work in an organization. It starts from the recruitment process and it ends with the employee leaving the organization. Employee experience is employee-centric approach. It's the way the employee is treated when he or she is working for the organization. Suren, if you can just press the enter. Great. So employee experience is an input which yields to an output. Okay. So which yields to an employee engagement as an output. So अगर आप employee को अच्छा experience देंगे, तो automatically the employee will be more engaged working for you. Great. So now we have understood three concepts. We have talked about satisfaction, engagement, and experience. Great. So before we move on, 1 minute, I want to hold here. I want to hear from any of you. Now that you have understood organizations' engagement or why organization should do engagement, why do you think engagement is important for an organization, or how would it help? If you were to answer in one line, how would engagement help the organization? Please type on the chat box.
Have some water, please.
Pardon?
Have some water, please.
Yeah, I'll have it. Don't worry.
For retention.
Ayushi says retention. Anything else? For smooth functioning, more productive, great. Sundar writes, engagement employees contributes to more happily. Great, Sundar. Right, great. Productivity, great. So great, feels good. At least whatever I've talked in last 1 hour, people are now writing it on the chat. So this was just a test. So +5 for all of you.
That means people are continuously listening you.
Yeah.
People are continuously listening you.
Yeah. So Zoom will soon provide a test wherein you will have to touch a button and there will be a shock. So that will keep you awake. So great. So thank you very much, folks. In fact, very heartening to see some great responses. Yeah. So engagement or a decent engagement strategy leads to retention. So that's what we are going to talk next. So please move on.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So this is where this all begins. So if you do the right things in engagement, it leads to multiple good things. Okay, so what is important? So there was another survey which was done by PwC on the CEOs. Okay, and 8 out of 10 CEOs believe that organization lacks skills. Okay, so 8 out of the 10 CEOs believe that this skill is the most critical element for an organization to grow. If organization don't have the right skills, then they will not grow. So the point that I'm trying to make here is why is skills so important, or why it is very important to retain your people is because if people move out of your organization, or people will keep moving out of your organization, you will keep losing the competitive edge that you have now. That is the reason engagement or strategies, which we just talked about, engagement, that is employee experience, creating the right set of policies, procedures, are very, very important to ensure that people are engaged and they are retained for the organization. So what happens if people leave the organization? So you look at the second part of the slide, which talks about the impact. So if people are leaving the organization, there is a 55% impact on the innovation. So the organization will again have to reinvent the wheel from the start. Okay, 55% of the hit is on the innovation piece. You lose 44% on the market opportunities, because people who are the brand ambassadors or who are the brands. Okay, so for example, I work for a laminate company. Now laminate cannot talk. So it's our sales guys who will have to go and talk on the behalf of the laminate to the customers. So they will have to talk as if they are the laminate and what are their USP. and that's how a laminate gets sold. So imagine if a sales guy is leaving, or in a particular territory, if we are constantly losing people, so we are losing a lot of amount of market opportunity. Your market share is going down. So 44% of your market opportunities is getting lost. The next is on the cost. Okay, so your costs are getting impacted by 52%. In fact, if you go and study more about this survey, so it says that the cost of losing an employee is almost to a 150 percentage, okay, of the total cost that you have spent. So for example, you spend 10 rupees on an individual, okay, who is already working for your organization, you are likely to spend 150 times more on the next person that you're going to hire. Why it is so? Because there'll be a hiring cost, there'll be a cost which will be paid to the consultant, there would be a cost which will be paid on the training and the induction of the individual, there would be an opportunity cost which has been lost for somebody not being there on their position for the last 60 days. So you actually get impacted a lot on the cost front. The next is 44% of your growth targets get impacted because somebody is not there in that particular position, role. So your growth targets are not getting met. And the last one, very, very important, is your customer experience. So 47% of your customer experience get impacted because the person is getting constantly changed at that particular location or that particular role. So this is why retaining employees or retaining the right skill is very, very important for any of the business strategies today. In fact, I would want all of you to go and reflect back on this study. It's available on Google. So you can actually go and study this more. Right. This is a very powerful slide and very, very close to my heart. Okay, so it says, but you can only unlock their skill of employees if they stay with you. So what it means is, so for example, there are multiple locks on the left-hand side, and you consider each of these locks as an employee. So you can only open these locks, or these locks can only deliver for you if they stay with you. Imagine somebody else or a next employer who will come and open this lock and take it away, and you're losing the talent. So it is very, very important to ensure that whatever skill that you have, you create a ring around it, you fence them well, and you protect and ensure that they stay with you. So very powerful slide. Next one. Right. So these are some of the impacts. Okay. So when people don't stay with you, so the restructuring impacts the organizational performance and productivity to a greater cost. The cost is in terms of the productivity. So there are huge losses which are incurred in terms of the productivity. The brand reputation gets impacted. So imagine you, for example, you are a sales guy, you work for a company, any of the consumer durable company, and you visit a customer. So every 6 months, a new face or a new employee visits that customer. So what would be the impression on that customer? कि ये organization कर तो हर 6 महीने में there's somebody else who comes and meets me. So it actually reflects very bad on your brand. So people will start thinking that this organization has a hire fire policy. I don't know what is wrong with the company. People don't stay back for this organization for a longer period of time. And on the other side, imagine a scenario wherein a same sales guy is servicing to a customer year after year. So not only he or she will create a long-term bond with that customer, but will also create a lot of customer happiness or a customer satisfaction, because he or she being the single focal point for the customer for a longer period of time. So it's being said that employees are the brand ambassadors, or you are the brand reputation. So if the brand ambassador gets changed too fast, then the brand image will get impacted. The third one is around the time for contribution. Okay, so the time to contribute for a new hire is slightly longer period. So for example, if a person is leaving the organization and the next rehire only comes after 30 to 60 days of time, so that particular delta of 30 to 60 days impacts the cost and the productivity of the organization. The next one is the cost of institutional intelligence. So for example, a certain employee operating with a certain amount of skill set and a mindset or a certain level of intelligence, now the employee leaves the organization and goes. So that will impact the organization's performance productivity, because he or she will carry the intelligence which is required to do that particular job. The next is it will have a overalling effect on the morale of the employees. So for example, I have seen organizations when the turnover is very, very high. So people, there are seats which are identified that this is a very bad seat. Please don't sit on this chair because anybody who comes and sits on this chair leaves after 2 months. I've seen these kind of organizations also. So it has a very negative impact on the morale of the employee. There are certain pockets. Okay, so I have seen organization who they say that please don't go and sit in this particular pocket. It's a very cursed pocket. Whosoever has sat in this either has been sacked in 6 months' time or has left the organization. So people, it actually has a very dreading impact on the morale of the employees. So leaving organization or retaining employees is very, very critical because it takes almost 50% of efforts to have a new employee in place and the ramp up to happen. Great. So now I think this is the last slide. Okay. So I just want to reflect on this slide for another 10-15 minutes. So this is again a study by Bersin. Okay. They talk about simply irresistible organizational model. And this model is very close to my heart. You can, of course, choose a retention model depending upon which organization or what type of company you work for or what works for your people. But more or less, it revolves around these 4 or 5 parameters. So it revolves around meaningful work environment. So you should have a work environment which would provide a lot of empowerment opportunity to the people operating there. It should have hands-on management. So people should not, the management and the employees should not be sitting at different levels. Okay, the management should understand the ground realities of the job, and the employees working in the organization should also be clear about what is the goal that they are expected to do. The management should have empathy towards whosoever is working in this particular organization. And like somebody was talking about the performance management, continuous feedback, reward recognition. So those things should be understood by the management. The third one talks about the positive work environment. So here is where we talk about the entire flexibility of work environment, humanistic approach, culture of recognition. I think culture of recognition is very, very important for an organization to have engaged workforce. So can somebody tell me on chat what is the difference between reward and recognition? So I talked about reward, I talked about recognition. But what is the difference between a reward and what is the difference between a recognition? Anybody on the chat? Right. Reward is material appreciation. Okay, great. Ruchika says reward is monetary. And what about recognition? Verbal, great. Yeah, so I think largely rewards are monetary based recognition, and recognitions are non-monetary recognitions. Okay, so one is monetary, second is non-monetary. Great, good one, folks. Appreciate. So organization should have great. So thank you very much, Virat. Great. So organization should have the culture of rewards and recognition. They should have an inclusive approach. A lot of organizations have started talking about diversity and inclusiveness. They have started creating policies around diversity and inclusiveness. Then fourth one, very, very important, growth opportunity. Okay, so growth opportunity is very critical. Yeah, Bhakteshwar, great. So growth opportunity talks about learning opportunities for an individual, creating high impact learning culture. Then the last one, very critical for any organization to retain people, is trust in leadership, or to have great leaders. Okay, so everybody should be aligned to the mission and the purpose of the organization. People should be, there should be a continuous investment, not only doing the training and development, but also to the other things also. So for example, a leader should be available for people to be reached out. People should be heard. There should be transparency, and the leader should be inspiring. Last, but one of the most important thing is, let's not make it too complicated. Okay, so people also don't want to work for an organization which is too complicated or too bureaucratic or too difficult to manage, because they only come to an organization for a certain reason. They come there to work, they come there to earn, they come there to learn, they come there to grow. So you should have these 5 parameters in place, and let's keep it simple. I think that's the last message that I would want to give. So with this, I think I'm done with my slides. Please type any questions or any comments that you have. Yeah, Suren, you can remove the presentation.
Yeah.
Right, folks. Any comments? Any suggestions? Likes, dislikes, happiness, rewards, recognition? Anything is welcome. Great. So, Suren, I think I am done, and there are no questions.
No, people are asking, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so one last thing. Anybody who wants to connect with me and understand some more aspects, so they can connect with me on LinkedIn. I am available on LinkedIn. You can search for me and connect with me on LinkedIn. I would be happy to connect and help and answer your queries. So thank you very much, and over to you, Suren, now, please.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks a lot, sir, for the same. Mr. Sushant is here. He is a partner of our company. Mr. Sushant?
Hi Atish, very good afternoon.
Hi, Sushant. Good afternoon. How have been you doing?
All well, thanks. I hope everything is same on your end.
Yeah, all great. Yes, please.
Thank you, Atish, for sharing such a good knowledge and valuable inputs to all our HR professionals and students who have been the participant with us today. And we would like to thank every being who is there with us on a call. And we appreciate you being soon in upcoming sessions as well. And
Right.
for the
So
upcoming
before you end, Sushant, thank you very much. Thanks to you and Suren. Anybody wants to unmute and say something about engagement?
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear and answer if you have any questions, please.
Yeah. Anybody have any question?
Because this webinar has become one-sided at times. So it becomes very difficult to look at your screen and keep blabbering again and again. So any questions, comments, or anything would help.
Yeah, Atish ji, good afternoon. This is Sundar.
Hi, Sundar. Good afternoon. Good
Yeah,
to see
so,
you.
yeah. So first of all, I would like to thank you for sharing your wisdom with all of us, and it was a very wonderful session, I would say. There is no question as such, but I would like to add some points. Like you have shared a very good presentation and talked a lot of things, but unfortunately, in the organizations I have been working from last 10 years. So what I see is people they run after very big things, and sometimes they miss a very small steps, small actions which actually contribute to the bigger step. So you talked about a lot of things, but there is one thing which we as an organization or HR professional need to understand is the triggers, right? So trigger is something which keeps employee engaged or makes his mind to move away, right? So here I would request you to throw some lights that what are the various ways where we as a HR professional or as a line manager can go deeper and understand that is one aspect. And second is still we are as a HR professional or as a line manager, we believe in exit interview, but this is the high time when we focus more on stay interviews, because if we do that, then definitely whatever aspects you have covered, we will be able to understand it at the early stage and we can take the corrective action. That is what I wanted to share. Thank you.
Thanks, Sundar. Thanks for bringing it on the table. I think some of the people who are working with new gen organizations, okay, any of you is exposed to something called as HR chatbots. There's a company called Infido. They make HR chatbots.
it's
So
an IT company.
It's an IT organization. So like for example, all of you who have a ICICI account or any of the net banking accounts. So as soon as you log on to the net banking account, there would be a chatbot which will pop up, and that chatbot will start interacting with you. So now that's kind of a technology which is being available at the disposal of the HRs now. So we have a chatbot by the name Infido, okay, or that's being started by a company called Infido. So you talked about stay interviews. I think how this chatbot thing works. So this is one such idea. In fact, we are looking at implementing them. So this chatbot would connect with you, and at a certain, so you define the intervals at which you want to interact with the chatbot. Okay, so maybe after 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days. So this chatbot will continuously engage in conversation with you and would keep asking you questions. So it will ask you, Sundar, how has been your yesterday? How has been your journey for last 30 days? What has been your experience with your manager? Have you been have you been told about the expectations from the job? So there are a lot of backend algorithms which run, and whatever key things that, or any negative term that you use, that chatbot will question you again, and it will send triggers to the HRs. Okay, so these are some of the new age HR practices that are being done. Some of the organizations that I've already worked with or I have been exposed to. So for example, Bharti, we used to do something called as assimilation discussion or a assimilation feedback. Okay, so after every 30, 60, 90 days or 180 days, we used to send a simple Google Doc link to the employees and inquire about their engagement levels on various parameters. And that were the indicators. So somebody who writes or reports something very negative on certain parameters would be a trigger for us to know that there's something not right about that particular individual or that particular place. The next thing is about the engagement surveys. So the whole purpose of doing these engagement surveys or having the engagement framework or the surveys in place is to identify the problem areas or the problem pockets. And that is the reason the organizations have these surveys, to identify the triggers in advance. So some of the mature organizations who actually properly follow the engagement survey, work on the action planning, actually go to the root cause of the problem and identify the root cause and then try to come out with a solution. I think that's all I can say about it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Suren, anything else, or else we will have to close?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for the same. And I would like to say we'll upload this video on our Facebook page, so anyone can check and see and learn again on the same. So you can just go our Facebook page, it's acsconsultant.in.
Right. Great. Thank you very much, everyone, and stay safe. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Atish. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Satisha. Thank you so much.
Thank you.